Jai Gurudev. So we'll move ahead. We finished till page 350 last week, right? Yeah. So we'll go ahead with page 351. Now for the next 6 pages, it is just story of the deluge and all. So I'll just explain the knowledge part. Okay? There's nothing much to explain in this story. But while we're reading, if you feel that you didn't understand at the end of the page, after you finish one full page reading, I'll ask you if you really need me to explain something, you can let me know. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead reading the story. Yeah? Who wants to read?
Vasistha continued. In response to my question concerning her identity, the woman celestial said, "In a corner of this universe you live. Beyond that are universes of diverse phenomena, very different from this. On the slopes of a far distant mountain range, there is a solid rock within which I dwell. The world within this rock is just like yours. It has its own inhabitants, angels and demons, heavens and hells, the sun, the moon, and all the rest of it. I have been in it for countless eons, along with my husband. Since we are intensely attracted to each other, we have not attained liberation. However, my husband is a Brahmana and celibate from birth, educated but lazy. He wished to have a wife who would be spiritually inclined. Of that wish I was born. But our marriage has not been consummated. After some time, my attachment for my husband turned into non-attachment. Yet, I could not abandon him. A woman can abandon everything in this world, but not a husband. However, I have only one desire now, and that is to be instructed by you. He too wishes to attain self-knowledge. At her request, I went over to her world within the rock, but could not see the world, though I saw the rock. She continued, I now see that what I previously saw in the rock is only in me. By repeatedly affirming the world within the rock, I began to experience it. Ah, this is the only path to salvation. One should be totally devoted to the one desirable cause. One should be instructed in the right effort for its attainment, and one should again and again engage oneself in such right action. When I heard this, I entered into samadhi again. What appeared to be rock before shone as pure consciousness, Chidakasa. On account of the mysterious power of illusion, a notion arises, for no reason whatsoever. Paradoxically, the obvious is unreal and the unreal becomes obvious. The subtle body is the first thing among these obvious truths. The gross physical body exists in the Ativahika, or the subtle body. Even as water exists in a mirage, when you realize that what seems to be obvious is unreal, what else is worth our consideration? How can we accept as real that which is established as real by the unreal? Thus, what was seen by us as the world within the rock was unreal. It was pure consciousness only. Such a world is seen only by the ignorant who cling to the notion, I am not enlightened. The celestial lady entered the world within the rock. I went in too. She went to the creator of that world. He was a husband. She asked me to enlighten both of them. He was in deep meditation. She brought him back to normal consciousness. He became aware of his limbs. These limbs were in fact different created beings who arose in that awareness. He welcomed me. I questioned him concerning the lady and himself.
Is there any question on this page? You understood the story so far, right? Simple. There is only one knowledge point in the middle, which is the bold. The only path to salvation. Number one should be totally devoted, yeah, to the desirable cause. Number two, you have to get instructed in that right effort. And number three, then you engage in the right action. These are the three prerequisites for you to follow a particular path. A lot of people feel that nothing is happening, so many years on the path. See if one of these three is missing in your search. Yeah. Are you devoted enough? Okay, if you think, yes, I am devoted, then have you been instructed in the right effort? Okay, we have been instructed, but I don't know if I am doing the right effort. So check, are you really making those right efforts? We have been taught Sudarshan Kriya. Are we doing it? We have been taught so many meditations. Are we doing it? You see? So there's a difference between just being instructed in the right effort and actually making the right effort. And then you should constantly engage in right action. Right action is not just following one meditation technique, or it's not just 30 minutes of meditation during the day. It's actually constantly being in that state throughout the day. If you don't have that kind of devotion to it, it will not happen. I have said this before. It has to be stronger than your biggest material world desire. Is it stronger than whatever your biggest material world desire is? That is something you need to check. If you still feel that becoming the CEO of a company is more important to me than my spiritual growth, then somewhere your effort is going to be less, no? Naturally. Are you seeing this? So that is why totally devoted to the one desirable cause. That is why that is so important. Yeah? So homework number one, check if you have these three qualifications. The rest is story. The essence of the story is there is this rock in which he cannot see anything, but she sees her world. And it's on account of the mysterious power of illusion, a notion arises for no reason. When you get established in the self, you see how a particular thought comes to you and you nurture it so much, and really that thought materializes in life. Right now you might not be able to see it very clearly, but really whatever is happening in your life is happening because you wished for it. Maybe not now, maybe in the previous lifetime. That's what brought you, your mother, your father, the country, India, or whichever country you're born in. So things materialize out of my own desire. This becomes evident once you are established in the self. And then you stop creating. And that is the key. When you stop creating, you drop the desire to create. Initially, you might have that kida, because you've learned something new. Oh, really I can create? And then you experiment and you check and you see, yes, I create. Okay, let me take a step back now. That's when you stop creating. So even after reaching that first stage, you will be experimenting with your Raga Dvesha a little bit. And then a point comes when you drop it off. Any other knowledge point on this page?
So the last paragraph, I'm a bit intrigued. So she went within the rock, and so she was in a world that was created by her husband. It feels like there is something hidden which I'm not able to understand.
Nothing. It's very simple. If I and you and four people are together, we have all created this illusion of wanting to sit in a Yoga Vasistha class, of wanting to learn this. That's how we have all landed up in the same situation. It is my dream, her dream, your dream, your dream, your dream, your dream. Everybody has the same dream. You get it? So we have created it. This is our rock. We'll go into the rock later. So all they are saying is whatever is manifested because of that thought, because of desire. Very clear. Move on to page 352.
I still have a question.
Yeah.
Like, what is she saying when she says that my attachment for my husband turned into non-attachment and I could not abandon him? I mean, what does she mean by non-attachment, abandoning?
So basically, she wants to walk the spiritual path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he also wants to walk the spiritual path. He wanted a wife who was spiritually inclined, and he created her. Matlab, you only desire, and that's how you actually meet your mate, and you have created your truth. So she's born out of his imagination. Does not mean all that magic, but it means because of desire, the two of them came together. They both want to walk together towards salvation, but they are very attached to each other. Now here, very clearly she has mentioned he's a celibate, to tell you that this attachment is not related to the lust of the body. It is more of an emotional attachment, because of which they are not able to get liberated. So they are almost at the last point. When you are very close to that point, you become aware, I am there. I'm standing at the door, and this is my bondage. And it takes a lot of effort to drop that last bondage. Yeah, because somewhere your mind is very afraid of the unknown. Beyond that door, I don't know. I've never seen it. It's been explained by a guru, but I don't know. So the mind also has a hidden fear that I really don't want to go there. Yeah, there is a, I don't know, maybe in the Bible it was, I don't know where I read it, where the priest was praying and saying, God, please come and liberate me, but don't come quickly enough. Yeah, means take your time.
We got some business to take care of.
I'm still enjoying. So this is the way the mind is. Yeah? Where the mind is craving for salvation also, but it still wants some unfinished business to be done. And that is what pulls you back. Those are your...
Are those karmas?
Well, of course, everything is karma,
No.
but you have to get over it. It's nothing but attachment to somebody or something. Yeah. It's going to be your last bondage. Video ko English mein kya bolta hai?
Chain.
Your last chain, the last one. So her last chain is her husband. And same for the husband. We'll go ahead and do it. Yeah? Page 352.
Continue.
Somebody else can read.
Somebody else?
I can
Unless when you get tired, somebody else can say.
I can read. The creator in the rock replied, I am but a vibration in the one cosmic consciousness. I have not been created. I do not see anything else. What is seen here as you and I are mere vibrations or notions. Even so is this lady. She was not created as my wife. Now I wish to merge in the plane of infinite consciousness. Hence, this passion has arisen in me, signaling the onset of cosmic dissolution. Therefore, this passion has arisen in this lady who is also a notion. All notions cease. Just as a notion arises, it ceases. The yearning for the unconditioned inheres in conditioning. Time, space, matter, motion, and so on are part of consciousness. It is consciousness alone that exists in this rock. Countless worlds exist in that consciousness. Having said this, the Creator entered into deep meditation. So did the lady. I too followed suit. When the cosmic person withdrew his consciousness from the notion called Earth, it began to disintegrate. Great unrighteousness precedes natural and artificial catastrophes. When the earth had been destroyed, the water element deluged everything that existed. Unquenchable flames arose, destroying everything. When the Creator withdrew his prana or life force, air abandoned its natural motion in space. What could live without life force? Even stars and heaven with its ruler Indra began to disintegrate, for they were all only notions entertained by the Creator. What survives is the eternal, it is beyond description. In relation to a mountain, a subatomic particle is small. In relation to the infinite, the entire universe is a subatomic particle. Creation is like a dream. As a particle of the consciousness moves in space, it does there what it did here, earlier. Thus, the sequence of time arises as well as spatial distinctions like above, below, and so on. Though it is of the nature of pure space or void, it seems to become time, space, action, matter, and awareness of the meaning of words. Even so, this consciousness becomes Brahma, the Creator. Even so, it becomes Hari or Vishnu. Even so does it become Rudra, and even so does it become a worm. The entire universe is contained in a subatomic particle, and the three worlds exist within one strand of hair. The cosmic person who has two bodies, the superior body is pure consciousness, and the other is the world. He is able to view the world like an egg from outside it as a hen does. He divides the egg into two. The upper part he called the sky or the heaven, and the lower part he called the earth. Heaven is his head, as it were, and the earth his feet. The other elements of the universe are his other limbs and parts of the body. However, since he is pure consciousness, all these are only notions. All actions that take place in this world originate in him. On account of him, the world is seen to be real. He exists in that cosmic body as you exist in your heart when you are in meditation.
So there is some knowledge here. See, first paragraph, where he says that she's not my wife, she's just a notion. Yeah? Recognize this, that every person in your life is your notion, and you are also a notion in that person's life. Just from a thought did that manifestation happen. It's not magical, it's just that you had a desire to be with her, she had a desire to be with you, not in the name and form, but a desire, and that desire brought two of you together when it was time. Time karma is also something which was decided from previous lifetimes, previous janma. The notion was planted, or the seed of that notion was planted in the previous lifetime, or many lifetimes before. Similarly, you both are not together the first time. I've told you this before. So, notion for you, she is a notion, and for you, he is a notion. If you start seeing the truth as it is, the unnecessary raga dvesha will drop off, and that no joke, that kitch, that unnecessary attachments and gooey thingy in that relationship which makes it a mess will drop away. It will become very, very clean. How? Just by recognizing this is manifestation of my notion. It's that simple. When you start recognizing it, that dirty chocolate chewing gum mess around you drops off. So you start working on your closest relationships. Can you just look at it as he or she is just my notion? That's your homework number 2.
How do you understand? I mean, how do you look at somebody as a notion? You're looking at them as a human being. So,
Yeah, human being बाद में मत आना.
but what truth do I see? Like, as in, for me, the truth right now is this body, this face, this name. I can touch him or see him or hear him. That is the truth, probably.
पर notion का मतलब untruth है ऐसे तो नहीं कहा है ना.
पर notion मतलब क्या था?
कि मेरे मन में एक desire आया. There was a desire in me to experience something. First, that desire arose. That desire was so strong, it kicked a sankhara from the past. Some many lifetimes ago, some sankhara with person A was deep rooted in the consciousness. A desire arose in me to want to be with something similar to this sankhara. This sankhara got kicked, manifested in my life. So really, what is it? Just a desire? मतलब notion.
So, notion.
Notion वाली बात clear हुई?
हाँ, but still, it's intellectually, but if I'm seeing him,
You need to experiment, okay?
yeah, how?
Experiment with a very small thing. That, whatever, I want a job. Very small thing. Achha, job is also big.
I want an apple.
You experiment with this thing that, I will have an apple in the fridge next week. I will not go and buy it. And don't tell him.
He heard it.
Do something else.
You do something else.
I mean,
So
I get this, at least when you were saying, I was thinking about if I want to start my art thing, and it was going on in my mind for such a long time, and I eventually started it. But it feels like I did it out of my desire.
So,
then
ठीक है,
this
इसलिए
is
मैं
not
बोल रही हूँ,
my
there will be
notion.
an apple in the fridge, but I will not buy it.
Okay.
So that will help you understand how it works. Yeah, and be very, very clear in your sankalpa. There will be an apple in the fridge. Maybe, हो सकता है, no doubts. These are all doubtful statements. We are sending doubtful energy to the universe. See, there will be an apple in the fridge next week. Not bought by me.
बाजू वाले अपार्टमेंट में मत हो जाना.
कोई नहीं कहता.
Let your apple be anything. I just threw out an example there. But experiment with yourself. I mean, it's high time you start experimenting and recognizing, life manifests exactly what I want. It brings to me.
It's become very complicated. Like every sentence, like it just like it's very hard to picturize what's happening. Like the rock, the creator in the rock, and she went in the rock, and he.
नहीं ये सब symbolism है. सच में नहीं है.
But how the sequence is happening, we just try to think in our mind what is really happening, like
हाँ.
कुछ तो है कहानी में. so
कहानी ये है कि ये पूरा क्रिएशन जो है, ये entire creation is just a notion. Yeah, you also desired, she also desired, he, everybody desired, and they all landed up in the same dream.
yeah.
Everybody landed up in the same dream. That's all it is. And the moment the dream breaks, it's now very nicely described that the earth will disintegrate and then water will come as a big deluge and there'll be fire. Really, ऐसे कुछ नहीं होता है. It's just very beautifully described that the dream comes to an end. Yeah, that's all that it is. Yeah. Well, this deluge, you and I might not see it in our lifetimes. Yeah, but there will always be a beginning to whatever, the Big Bang or whatever you want to call it, the beginning of this creation, there will be an end. And again there is another beginning. That is what has been described in the Upanishads, the Puranas. But you and I might not see it in this lifetime. Yeah? So it's very difficult for the intellect of this limited 100-year span maximum, whatever, 60, 70, 80, 100, to accept this intellectually. So I don't even tell you that you have to accept it or fool yourself. I tell you, take it as a symbolism that just like my dream comes to an end, yeah, this entire creation will also come to an end. Yeah, that's it. You don't have to believe in it, you don't have to fight for it or whatever. Yeah, don't go into that. Just be with the truth. Recognize that, yeah, in my mind, when I have a notion, it manifests in my life. Experiment with yourself and see the truth. Then maybe you will come to a point one day where you will see the creation of the universe and the deluge. We don't know. What I don't know, I don't say it doesn't exist. Yeah? Because that is the language of an atheist. And I don't want to go there where I completely become a closed mind. But I know I cannot experience it with my limited intellect. So I understand there must be some truth which I don't know, and I am humble enough to accept I don't know. You get it? You don't have to fool yourself. At the same time, I don't say have a fake belief. I don't teach you this thing. Never ever have a fake belief. Never ever fool yourself. Nahin to you're lost, cause you'll not get ahead. You'll be lost in everything. Yeah? There's lots of Maya on the path. Yeah? Very, very clear. Humility is required. ठीक है? There must be something I don't know, so I don't reject it. I don't throw it out. Yeah? One day maybe I get there. I may understand it, but today this much I can experiment. Notion manifesting in my life, very much you can experiment and recognize.
So this is just like you had said a few weeks ago that anything, if someone's saying something to you or some experience you experience something, it's because the reflection, you have reflected that experience.
Correct.
So this is just one step further where you're saying
You created
you
it.
created.
Now, it's very difficult for somebody to accept. The ego doesn't want to accept, wants to accept, this great position, this fantastic wife, husband, child, I did it, but this bad thing I didn't do.
Right.
Both are mine, good and bad. Yeah, both are mine. Both are created from my own notion. Yeah, and good and bad is just a label actually. There is really nothing good and bad. You will come to a point where it doesn't matter, where it doesn't poke you anymore because the you has dropped. It's just a question of the you or I dropping. The moment the I drops, there's no more poking happening. Then both become equal. Okay?
So both these concepts, like one is that whatever is happening, I created it. And then the concept that I'm not the doer.
Both are right. till the time the ego exists, doership exists in me. So till the time doership exists, even if I call for help, to God, I'm still doing. So God says, Karo, tum kar rahe ho to karo. So whatever I want will come to me. I will hate it, I will cry for help. Again, I'll tell him, but I'm still doing. The day the I drops, that day you recognize, boss, I'm not the doer. It is all anyways happening. It was happening on account of the law of karma. Yeah. I said that I did this, I achieved this, I became a doctor, an engineer, I did this. But really it was happening on account of karma. I was unnecessarily struggling and being feverish and creating more karma phala. I was throwing out more desires, they were manifesting. I was not very happy because obviously the craving for a desire, that hankering for a desire is more pleasant than the actual manifestation of desire. We all know this from experience now, not words. Yeah. So that hankering, and then manifestation, when it happens a million times on the spiritual path, somewhere you wake up. Now I cannot tell you when you're going to wake up, right? A point will come when you'll just wake up. You'll recognize, what's going on? I'm doing something wrong. That's when your real thirst starts to know yourself. And when you actually know yourself, the I drops. The moment the I drops, it becomes apparent. I am not the doer, it is all happening. Very clear? Phuket mein I was just dancing around, thinking I am running the show. I was not running the show from the beginning. Are you getting it? It was karma doing it. And I
was
thought,
rolling and I'm
yes.
just like stuck there.
Yes. Yeah. I was just thinking I am running the show. Clear who I am? Yeah. So both are correct. I am the doer is also correct. I am not the doer is also correct.
Just the eyes different.
You're not finding it, so you did it. You credit मिलेगा time आएगा.
इसने correct बोला ना? I am the doer is right. I am not the doer is right. But I in both the situations is different. Any other knowledge point in the first paragraph? Notion is very clear. Look at the last sentence. Just as a notion arises, it ceases. The yearning for the unconditioned inheres in conditioning, means is inherent. Inheres means is inherent in conditioning. Yeah? The moment a notion arises, it ceases. The yearning for the unconditioned is inherent in conditioning.
What does that mean? Unconditioning in conditioning.
Okay.
Means I want something, I get it, now I don't want it.
Don't
That
know
is unconditioning in conditioning? No. Okay.
मेरे में thirst है. Yeah? This thirst for something is a part of my conditioning. And so the thirst for a material object is also part of my conditioning. The thirst for attaining moksha from the material object is also part of my conditioning.
That is because I'm listening to spiritual knowledge. That's why that is a conditioning that is being created.
Well, it could be because of your previous karmas. There could be somebody who is not listening to spiritual knowledge at all, so is not colored by Vasistha's words or any other words, but still has that thirst for moksha. समझ आ गया? So it's got nothing to do with reading something. Yeah? It's a part of your conditioning from living life itself. Clear?
So, one thing, it's easy. Like I have experimented so many times. I saw myself, I said, मेरे को ticket नहीं मिला यार. I've never gotten a speeding ticket. Bam! Speeding ticket. Directly. So that has happened. But those are one-off events. Okay, it works. But let's say that, okay, I brought her in my life. Okay. But I brought her and she stayed. You know that it's that you initiated. Now even though you recognize, what do I do with it?
कहीं नहीं जा सकती.
आपके पास आ जाऊंगी मैं.
So you know what I'm saying, that creation part has clicked, that okay, I've created, but then there is maintaining that is happening, which again you can become averse to. So
No, you just recognize that
Okay.
this is created by me. Now drop dvesha. You can't just drop raga and say, okay, I'm done. Dono, the other side also, pendulum will always swing from one side to the other. So you have to drop the dvesha to the fact that I created this and this has what has manifested.
so
Even she got brought into she went into his life.
Yeah.
So it's intertwined in
Yes,
a way.
yeah.
So
So like I
Yeah.
said, we are all in each other's dreams because we all dreamt the
dreamt
same
and manifested.
The same
No, I
thing.
didn't.
yeah, but the way I've created her is different than who she is. Right? Like, because it's in my dream.
Right.
Like although I'm in her dream, it's not who
What
I
you
am
want to
in
dream.
my dream.
Yes.
It's very different.
Sure. But you're saying where does it stop or when is she going? But
Mm,
that again it's
I'm not saying where does it stop. My question is that I created, but it's like you created a monster and now it took a life of its own. It's one of those sci-fi movies that okay, I created it, but I created it for this reason. Now all these end things came, which
Uh-huh.
probably I didn't
From
create.
the
So does it take
Package deal.
a package?
that
एक
is-
कर्मा थोड़ी होता है. There are lots of sankharas. Okay? So when she's from the past, whatever 10 lifetimes ago, she had a bundle of sanskaras around her. So you have to get the whole package
Yeah.
deal. You're not going to get only what you desire.
pick and choose.
Yeah. Everything comes with it. Yeah. You like only dark chocolate. But you go for a dark chocolate Hershey's ice cream and you go for a dark chocolate Ben and Jerry's. Isn't there a difference?
Yeah.
So the flavor of that particular dark chocolate is the package deal, whether you like it or not.
So it
One
will-
has nuts, one has whatever, truffles. It's a package deal. Okay? So we all, that's why there are certain things in a person you are very attracted to and certain things you are averse to in the same person.
So isn't that also something that you're creating yourself? I mean, well, like
After
you said,
26
I'm
years we
creating
come to know that.
everything. Like he may say, okay,
It's confirmed.
I like her art. I'm just putting her on the spot because he's so like, okay, I love the art, but I don't like her liking for Apple. So I mean, but that's also something that he's creating himself, right?
And that's his raga and
That's
dvesha.
his raga and dvesha. This new dvesha has developed in this lifetime. Wasn't there n number of lifetimes ago. That's why that package deal came from that lifetime. But now his taste has changed. Now he likes strawberries, he does not like raspberries. Do you get it? Yeah, that is why the moment you drop raga and dvesha, you just don't drop for this lifetime, you drop for previous, and that's how karma gets wiped.
So, but when you drops that raga and dvesha, or he drops one raga and picks up another dvesha, so he's creating
More
further for the next.
for the next. Yeah, that's why empty. Drop everything. Big deal. Everything is a play. Everything is a drama. Just play along, play along. Don't get touched inside. बाहर से खेलो तुम. बाहर से husband wife हो. अंदर से तो सुब्बू ही है. And that can never be touched. the closest relationship is of a husband and wife. Still, you have your own individuality, and that inner self is ever pure. Yeah? So never let chota things from outside touch that inside. Inside, I am pure.
So badly conditioned and ingrained in a mindset, in a psyche, that you keep doing it, but slowly sometimes you catch yourself and you say, okay, you know what, let it go. It's not you. This is you're creating this. Step back. Shot.
Again and again, we have
Again and
to. We have to reach that point where we are doing it moment to moment in life. Then only will you see a major shift in yourself.
Like how you gave an example of this raga, dvesha, and this motion. Could you give an example of how do you let go of this motion so it's not created again? As in, if I'm trying to drop the raga and the
Notion
dvesha,
कहाँ से create हुआ?
मेरे से
तेरे से create हुआ, लेकिन किस चीज से create हुआ? By what? What did you do for the notion to get created?
I desire
What is a desire?
raga.
Some raga or some hatred or
Or
some
even
fear,
dvesha, right?
something from inside.
So, okay. For example, now if I know he's my husband, now how do I drop that raga? It doesn't happen.
You don't have to drop him.
How does attachment become more attachment? It just seems so bad.
Just that recognition that there was something that you desired that manifested. Whatever you will keep desiring, the whole package deal will keep manifesting. Stop desiring. Not just one thing, everything. And then something manifests. Oh, I like this, I don't like this. I like this, I don't like this. But that I like this created that. So she mentioned apple. Yeah, I don't like apple. Maybe I'll think about a watermelon in my fridge. Watermelon, you will never desire something that you don't have a raga or dvesha for. You will never desire a doll. It will not even cross your mind. So what she's saying is, drop that raga only and dvesha. So manifestation will stop and the whole train will come to a standstill.
Initially, you might not be able to do it absolutely.
Yeah.
Like an absolute raga I'm dropping absolutely right now. It will not happen. Initially, the thought will come, and then, okay, it's not a big deal if I don't eat the watermelon. Drop it. Again, you go in, you're doing your things, again the thought comes, oh, there is watermelon in the fridge, I want to eat it. And again, it's okay, it's not a big deal. That repetition, repeatedly, you will have to let go of the raga.
Yeah.
Do you get it? A point will come where you will really see the truth that, yeah, it's not really so important. That's the problem with people who have a sweet tooth, chocolate in the fridge, ice cream in the fridge. Then later on they're cribbing, "Arey yaar, 10 pounds, बढ़ गया यार."
नहीं लाना चाहिए, लाने ही नहीं चाहिए, बार लाने का नहीं.
Raga turned to dvesha. No use. Pendulum. You're going to be stuck forever. Yeah? And I put this on the blog. I don't know if you read it. There are 2 stages for a desire. In the first stage, a craving comes on account of gunas and karmas, not because I said that I want to eat. A craving comes automatically in the body. You have a craving for sweet. Have you felt the urge for sweet? Then you go and you start looking at it. Is there something sweet?
Yeah.
You don't even remember there is sweet in the fridge or something in the kitchen. You look for something, you don't find anything, you eat a spoon of honey and you go back.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? Yeah. So the first urge is very, very clear, comes because of gunas and karmas, yeah, or whatever, the constitution of this body. Pitta people usually have a little more inclination to sweet food compared to Vata people. Very natural it is. It's the constitution of the body. So, desire comes for sweet, and you know you bought chocolate ice cream yesterday when you went to Trader Joe's. So you know there is chocolate ice cream in the fridge. But you know that this morning when you stepped on the weighing scale, you were already 5 pounds more than you were last week. You say, oh, lots of wrong decisions this week. You already took that sankalpa in the morning. No more sugar this week. But the thought comes. Yeah. This is the first stage of the thought. It's coming by its gunas or karmas. I have till a limit where I can let go of the thought. It is in my hands. Beyond a limit, it catches autopilot mode. Have you noticed this? Yeah? If I'm very angry, for the first few minutes I can let go. But if I don't do that in those first few minutes, it catches its own autopilot. That anger burns me and I go on and on and on and on in my mind. I might have still not opened my mouth and screamed or shouted or fought. But inside I have become a volcano. Are you understanding these two stages? Yeah? This first stage has a magic timing. 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, if you manage to let go of that raga or dvesha, it will drop off. The moment you cross that 5-minute limit, it has got autopilot. Now it's not going to stop. Now you will get angry, or you will go and eat that chocolate ice cream. You will do that thing that
The 5 minutes is an actual number, or you just
you test it, experiment it yourself.
5 minutes?
5 minutes. If again and again you can remind yourself, it's okay, it's just chocolate ice cream. It's just chocolate. 5 minutes of the thought coming, huh? Then you get busy with work, you get busy with yoga Vasistha, your 1-2 hours are gone. Again you get up, you go in, but then again the thought comes. So now the 5 minute has started again.
Acha, okay.
So every time the thought comes, the 5
minutes is the magic.
Okay.
Gussa ho,
So
Gussa
attachment
ho,
ho,
lust ho,
sadness ho.
kuch bhi ho, any emotion.
that's why they
Anything that is going to take you into action, which is going to just push you into that action, that is going to be driven by raga and dvesha, not from the self. Yeah, you experiment with this.
that's how even this you say impulsive shopping, right?
Correct.
That's the 5 minute.
Guruji said something to that effect in Sayam, right? Sayam, Guruji said something.
You mean Abhi Vigyan?
Vigyan, yeah. He said something about, that emotion, you control it for, count it, close your eyes or count it or something, and then it'll go away.
Yeah, he said to count 10.
But in the second stage, once you go beyond that 5 minutes, and after that you're brewing inside that, at that time there is nowhere to stop
There
it.
is. Then the second way is that you now become an instrument. Okay, this happened through me. Now I'm not going to react anymore. I'm just going to watch the anger, or I'm going to watch the lust, or
इसको खाई लेते हैं.
खा लो. पर ऑब्जर्व करो, अवेयरनेस के साथ हम बेहोश हो जाते हैं. When you're really craving for something and you get it, you become totally hypnotized by that chocolate ice cream, or hypnotized by that anger. You're lost in it. It's like, you watch a 3-hour movie, you become the hero. Like that, you're lost in this movie. You're hypnotized. That means you're not aware. You get it?
Yeah.
Limit, or to become an instrument of that, means to become aware. Oh, now the anger is happening through me, and I'm aware that there is anger. Just be aware. It's very difficult to be aware. Don't think that the second step is very easy. It's
Because
very tough.
otherwise you would just eat थोड़ी सी आइसक्रीम खा लो, but once you come to that stage तो पूरा बॉक्स ही खाना पूरा
पूरा खत्म हो जाता है. नोटिस किया ये? So recognize in the first few seconds only when a desire comes, recognize, do I really need to eat that ice cream? And if I need to eat that ice cream, let me eat 4 spoons. Decide within those first 5 minutes and finish it off.
So in case if you decide, for example, this ice cream example, if I decide in first 5 minutes that I will eat only 4 spoons, is it majority of the time that I will eat only 4-5 spoons
Yeah.
and I will
You've
not?
done it yourself. Tum khud dekho, you have done this. Have you always eaten the whole box? There have been times where you just took a little bit, ate a little bit, and you were satiated, khatam ho gayi wo desire.
Yeah.
Right? So you have done it. It's not something new. It's just that I'm putting it in words now. That's all.
Same thing applies the opposite also. If you're exercising, you say at least आधा घंटा करना है, but 15 minute में you kind of shortcut मार के भागते हैं. The opposite also works, right? So
Absolutely.
you want to do that half an hour.
Any thought, just observe. Rather than pushing or pulling it, immediately jumping into the well, you watch. Do I really need to do this? If not, let me discard this thought totally. Be unconcerned about it. Our first reaction is either we push away a thought or we totally jump into it. We don't analyze it. Is it required this moment? Otherwise, you would have learned to meditate properly and you would have gone into silence by now. But no. Every time you sit to meditate, you're thinking about laundry, you're thinking about Subbu, you're thinking about Sujaya, you're thinking about this, you're thinking about that. And because we have not learned to prioritize our thoughts. We don't analyze them, we just let them come. Aajo, everybody come. सबको चाय पिलाना है, सबको खाना खिलाना है, नहीं मोटे हो गए तुम्हारे थॉट्स.
Controlling.
Moment a thought comes, recognize, is this required? Is what now? Yeah. Make the thought feel ashamed of itself.
Actually, the thought will not feel ashamed. Like now that you said this, I remember. The thought will not feel ashamed, but you will feel guilty that how can I even think of something like this?
That's because the self-talk is not towards the thought. The self-talk is towards you. What are you thinking? Instead of why this thought is here. Very different.
इधर नहीं अटैक हमेशा खुद को करोगे ना तो then you will beat yourself and that is why we don't progress. I keep telling you, don't beat yourself up. Recognize I am not the mind. The moment, this is the only divorce you're really supposed to take in life, with the mind. Yeah, the day you really divorce the mind, you will recognize it brings in unnecessary thoughts which the self does not want to indulge in. The self is just silence. At least when you're meditating, just be here, not giving importance to unnecessary thoughts from your mind. Okay, so first paragraph over. Anything in the second? Time, space, matter, motion, and so on are parts of consciousness. It is consciousness alone that exists as this rock. Countless worlds exist in that consciousness. Yeah, again, don't start imagining. Yeah, rock can also be this entire creation, the earth. Okay, so he goes into meditation, the lady goes into meditation, and then they experience the deluge where the earth disintegrates. Yeah, so even when we started Yoga Vasistha, first the elements were born, you remember? Yeah, earth, water, fire,
Ether.
air. Ether is always there. Now, first earth disintegrates. Yeah, then water. And then there is fire, which burns away all the water. And then air just vanishes. Yeah? And there is ether left. And then nothingness. Yeah? So everything is abandoned. Prana is abandoned, life force is abandoned, stars, heavens, everything goes away. Yeah? What survives is the eternal. It is beyond description. In relation to a mountain, a subatomic particle is small. In relation to the infinite, the entire universe is a subatomic particle. Yeah? This is the clue to your question where you asked about how to imagine this rock and this creation. Yeah? It is nothing because I see it as such a big creation. I feel small, but for the Brahman consciousness, that creation itself is subatomic. It's nothing. Yeah? So it is like a dream. Yeah? As a particle of consciousness moves in space, it does there what it did here earlier. Thus, the sequence of time arises as well as spatial distinctions like above, below, and so on. Time and space, basically. Time and space only are again just a part of your dream, not real. Yeah? It's just created, it's a notion. Yeah? And it's just created by the consciousness being here and there. It's the same consciousness. It's like light. Light is here also, light is there also. In a dark room, if I put on light, one lamp here, till the point the light goes, I can see the distance. So the distance is measured by what I can see. It does not mean distance does not exist beyond that part where I cannot see. Like right now, it's super dark outside, it's super dark there. But it does not mean that the distance does not exist there. It's just that I can see only till there. Very clear? So it is creation like a dream, only till where I see, till there I create time and space. Space-time is same. We've discussed this before, right? Okay. So it is all a creation of my imagination. Even so, this consciousness becomes Brahma, the creator, becomes Hari or Vishnu, and it becomes Rudra. Even so, it becomes a worm. So just like in the beginning we did, that from Brahman consciousness, the Hiranyagarbha, the womb was formed, and the elements came out, then the subtle bodies were created, and from that the physical bodies are created. Yeah, and the physical bodies are all this creation. Now we're going in the reverse process. Everything in the physical got diluted, disintegrated, destroyed. Yeah, yeah. So everything is coming in the reverse order. It's coming back. This creation. What's that? Last in, first out. Last out. Yeah. So this is going to be the last in, first out. Yeah. The physical beings were created last, and now they are going to first out. Yeah. So that's how it just kind of wraps into itself. The Brahman consciousness wraps into itself and just remains nothingness at the end.
It's like a tortoise withdrawing its limbs.
Yeah.
It's like an explosion goes out, implosion.
Implosion, yes. And then back to nothingness. That's exactly how it has been described. Yeah. So now, even if there's Brahma and Vishnu again, we are not imagining people, these are the energies. So Brahma was there for creating all this. Now, this is Shiva's job to destroy and disintegrate. Yeah. So everyone exists as equal. Yeah. Everyone has the same energy. The last paragraph, the cosmic person has two bodies. Superior body is pure consciousness and the other is the world. Yeah. So Purusha and Prakriti. Very clear? These are the two bodies of the consciousness. He is able to view the world like an egg from outside it as a hen does. Now this is only symbolic again. There is no egg really there. Yeah, and the upper part is the sky or heaven and the lower part is the earth. Heaven is head, earth is feet, other elements of the universe are his limbs and parts of body. However, since he is pure consciousness, all these are only notions, and all actions that take place in this world originate in him. On account of him, the world is seen to be real. He exists in that cosmic body as you exist in your heart when you are in meditation. It's just a very beautiful description of the Brahma consciousness. That's it. There is no egg, there is no head and feet and limbs and all.
I read this book on astrophysics by Neil deGrasse. I think you had been asking us to watch all his things. So he says that how you belong to the universe. You are in the universe, but the universe is in you. So he really describes it very beautifully. I mean, maybe half the book I don't even understand. It's very high, but the main four particles, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. He says this is the main thing that the whole universe is made of, but that's all in you. So you're the same. So many concepts feel like they are same as yoga vasistha.
Yes. Someday science and spirituality will shake hands.
I have that. Yeah.
Okay. So it's 8:30 now.
Sa